I will just very, very quickly mention interactive jobs. So, as I talked about earlier, there are ways to start interactive jobs instead of using a batch script. You can do it either from the command line or from inside ThinLink or from a portal. I have a table here for you to look at, which shows that depending on your cluster, there are different ways of doing interactive jobs. And if you're on Tetralit, interactive is the only option. And I have an example here that shows what you do. So you simply do an interactive job on the command line. If you're on Dardel, you can use salloc or you can use GFX Launcher, which is also possible, and probably nicer. On Alvis, you should use Open on Demand, and the same on Kebnekaise. On Pelle, you use interactive, like on Tetralit, and on Cosmos, you can use interactive, but it's recommended to use the GFX launcher on the ThinLink. So the examples here, what you would do is you would give interactive minus a and then your project ID, and you could also add other resources, how much time, how much memory, how much cores, and so on. And then you end up on some compute node and you do your calculations there. On Dardel, you would use salloc, and then you would have the not real interactiveness. You will still be on the login node. You could run by prefacing with srun, or you can SSH to the node that you now have allocated, and then it's real interactiveness. There's also open on demand through the GFX launcher in their ThinLink. Alvis, you use srun and this long command here, which will send you to a terminal where you can work, or you use open on demand. Kebnekaise is like Dardel, with the exception you cannot log into the node you have reserved, but you can use the portal for open on demand. Pelle use interactive like Tetralit. Cosmos you can use interactive like Tetralit, or, which is the recommended, use GFX launcher on the ThinLink. And there are then 4 systems where you can do interactive jobs this way. And when you do interactive jobs in either the portal or the GFX launcher, you don't submit a batch job. You run directly on already allocated resources. So when you start Jupyter or MATLAB or whatever in these on these clusters with these interactive ways, then you will end up on a compute node and do whatever it is you want to do there. I will just very, very briefly show it for HPC2N. Log in. No. Okay. And so it looks like this. Not so fancy, but what you can do is that you could go and upload, download from your files. You can access your file system. You can use the interactive apps, and there are 5 options here. You can start VS Code on a compute node. You can start RStudio server, MATLAB proxy, or Jupyter Notebook, or Kebnekaise desktop. Then you ask for the environment, the project you are running in, how many hours up to 12, how many cores up to 1 node, and then either a CPU, a GPU, or a large memory, and then you launch it. And then you would get what looks like ThinLink, but is in reality a desktop on a compute node, and you can then work on it and run as heavy jobs as you want to, which is the advantage here. You can also pick something like Jupyter Notebook, and again, you can add your own environment if you want specific modules in it or start on specific paths, but I'm just going with the defaults just to show you. So here I just asked for 1 core. I could have asked for up to 28, I think here. And I can also ask for GPUs. So it starts, and now I am on this specific compute node, and then I have a Jupyter Notebook running there, and that means that I can work on it as if I was on my own desktop, but I have all the cores that I asked for on an HPC system to run on, and there's no other need of doing a batch job. It runs here automatically. And if you opened a terminal and you said, I could go there here and do that. And then I say sq minus minus me, then it show me that I actually have 2 batch jobs running, namely these 2 interactive sessions. So they count as regular batch jobs. They are batch jobs. It's just that they are run through this system here. And you can do the same with the GFX launcher through ThinLink on Dardel and on Cosmos. And Alvis has the same as HPC2N. So this makes it a lot easier if you're doing interactiveness like this. Okay, now I need to find out where I was. And I was here. And yes, use batch jobs if you have something you can automate, something you don't need to interact with, or something that needs to be run for a long time or is very heavy. Otherwise, if there is such a portal or whatever, use that because that's easier. So if you have to use MATLAB or RStudio or Jupyter Notebook or whatever, then you can use that for it. So, and you can also go to a desktop. Okay.